Hello everyone, it's Helen at Journaling Planet, and today I'm going to show you how I made a mini Christmas scrapbook from a free magazine. Now there are many tutorials on the internet about how to make a scrapbook from a magazine, or a journal from a magazine, or a glue book from a magazine, any kind of book you want from a magazine basically. And they all use the same technique that I am using here, where you take a page of the magazine and you fold it in towards the spine, leaving a few millimeters away from the spine because you want it to be able to turn easily. And I'll show you what I do with this page a little bit later in the tutorial, but this is the first step. And if you'd like a bit more of a breakdown on this process, then I think that the latest one I've seen that's really good is the one by, I think it's Shanuki Art channel, and if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I do recommend, if you'd like a more of a step-by-step on this, if you're a bit more of a beginner, then it is worth hopping over to that channel. And I absolutely love that channel anyway. So many creative ideas on there and so many amazing art journal spreads. So worth having a look at that tutorial. But as you can see, I'm essentially folding over each page of the magazine. When it's come to the cover, I've actually left about 1 centimetre, maybe 1.5 centimetres, away from the spine as I've folded inwards, because I wanted the cover to be slightly longer. I wanted it to be protective and thus a little bit wider than the pages. Now, I have recently started working in these little books I'm calling scrapbooks. And some people would say they were glue books. Some people would say they were art journals, whatever you want to call them. I don't really mind too much. I just want the freedom to be able to stick and draw and paint and glue and cut and basically do whatever I want in these books. And so that's the reason why I'm kind of calling it a scrapbook, because I don't really know exactly what I'm going to use them for whenever I make them. I just know there's going to be a lot of sticking and perhaps some writing in there as well. So I call them scrapbooks. So the step that I just did, where I used my blade to cut the magazine in half, that means that I end up with 2 journals essentially. And one of those has been put to a side for another project, but this one here, I'm just using some binder clips to keep the magazine in place while I cover it with some paper for the cover. And this is some Christmas themed paper that I've had in my stash for a year now. It came in last year's Daphne's Diary Christmas edition, and it sat there. I didn't use it last year, which was what I was intending to do. It just sat in my stash because I got busy wrapping presents, going to parties and such, generally making merry, and forgot that I had bought that Daphne's Diary Christmas edition and that I had lots of paper to use up. So here I am using it up. Using it to cover this magazine glue book / scrapbook / art journal / whatever you'd like to call it. I'm now going through each page, gluing the page that is folded down onto the other part of the page. So sort of gluing them down where they're folded in order to make them a little bit thicker. And I am covering them with some Christmas themed paper. Now, for the first couple of pages, I've covered them completely, but I didn't do this all the way through. My aim with each page was just sort of to glue something down that would start the ball rolling with my scrapbooking. So the things that I'm gluing down here, they may ultimately end up getting covered over. But the point is, when I come to this scrapbook, I'm not coming to a blank page. If you'd like to see an example of what I mean by scrapbook, you could go and check out my seasonal scrapbook, which I've just completed the autumn pages for. And that will give you an idea of the kind of layouts I tend to do. My idea with the Christmas scrapbook is that I will use up the ephemera, the Christmas ephemera that I've had lying around for some time. And secondly, when I get like Christmas wrapping paper that's really cute this year, or a gift tag, or some other kind of Christmas ephemera that comes with my presents, I'm going to save those things in this scrapbook. And so it's going to be a little bit of a memory keeping exercise as well. So it's doing double duty. It's helping me use up some lovely Christmas ephemera that's been sitting in my stash. And it's also going to be a memory keeping exercise. And I just can't wait to get started on it because I'm already in the Christmas spirit. I really want to watch Home Alone 1 and 2 like immediately. This is what I do every year. They're usually the first Christmas films that I watch. Yes, I do watch the second one as well. even though some would argue it's not as good as the first. I just love them both. I don't know what Christmas movies you guys watch, but I'd love to hear any recommendations in the comments, because movies are one of my favourite things, and I'm always looking for new Christmas movie recommendations. I think one of my favourite ones that most people don't know about is The Ghost of Girlfriends Past, with Matthew McConaughey in there and Jennifer Garner, and it's a retelling of the Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, but it's done in a very silly way, a very fun way. So I really recommend that if you haven't seen it. It's just very silly and you have to go in with a sense of humour, but I really love it. So I continue to glue all these little bits and pieces in this journal down. That page I've just done has a mistake on it, and I'll talk through that when I come to the end, when I start leafing through the pages and showing you page by page what I've got glued down. And also I was just checking to make sure that the gluing was all correct at this point and there wasn't anything wrong. And I found a couple of things that were wrong that just needed correcting. But this is why if you ever make a journal, or if you ever make a glue book or anything like that, handmade, then you just need to check each page to make sure that it's been glued in the right way, because otherwise it's quite frustrating to come to a journaling session and find that your journal is not fit for purpose. I speak from bitter personal experience. Now, as you may notice, one of the issues with this magazine style journal is that there is only one very flimsy staple in the middle holding it all together. I may try and finagle my stapler to put in another staple, or I might just use some masking tape to reinforce the spine. I suspect the latter, and then maybe I'll staple it at the end, or try to staple it at the end. We'll see. But I'm hoping that masking tape will just do the job. There's always the option as well for me to put a piece of elastic just around the middle to hold it all together, which might be what I end up doing if it gets very thick. And I think that would be a really good way of kind of holding it together without doing any sewing. So just running a piece of elastic through the center of the book and just tying a knot at the top or the bottom to just hold it all together. That's possibly what I'll end up doing with this, we'll see. But definitely some masking tape will be in play to hold it together while I'm working in it, because it is the drawback of this is that the paper is quite flimsy. So, I'm gluing these pages together. There's only one page glued in half. Some people would go so far as to glue 2 pages together. I just really felt like I glued enough by the time I got to the end of this. And the little points in the video where you can see me checking exactly how many pages do I have left to glue. I'm just being real with you in case you decide that you want to do this project. I really loved it and it's very relaxing. But there comes a point where you're like, how many more magazine pages is there to glue together? Because, I kind of feel like I've been doing this for quite some time now. So that's just one of those little things with this project. It takes a little bit more time than you perhaps first anticipate. And again, I'll probably get some comments, people saying, why are you bothering with this? Just use a notebook. I really like to make handmade things or to alter notebooks, even though I could go and buy my own, even though I could do that very quickly and it wouldn't cost me as much time as what I'm doing here. This gives me an immense amount of pleasure. It is very relaxing, and that means everything to me because, keeping my stress levels low, keeping my cortisol low, that's all very important to me. So that's the reason why I'm doing this, even though, yes, I could go out and buy one much quicker than what I'm doing here. If you enjoyed watching me put this together and you think you might have a go yourself, please let me know in the comments what your plans are, what kind of scrapbook or glue book or journal you're planning to make with this magazine style. And also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd really appreciate it, as I would a thumbs up. I'm just decorating the front with a bit of music paper, and then I do root around in my stash and audition a few things to go on the top as an embellishment. I have a few really cute things that will probably end up in the journal itself. And I nearly settle on this one, but then I find one that is landscape, and that's really what I was looking for all along. So glue that down. In fact, I didn't glue it down. I went for double-sided sticky tape, and that is its own little drama because, I don't know, maybe I'm the only crafter on the entire planet that this happens for, but getting the backing off double-sided sticky tape is just always a battle, always for me. And doesn't matter how many tips and tricks I try, it's just always the way. I just went around that with a black pen And then voila, we have a lovely journal. Just a little Merry Christmas embellishment there. I think that's looking pretty nice. And this is where I start going through the pages, and this is where I discover, I glued 2 pages together by overlapping a piece of ephemera across 2 pages, so I had to cut that apart. I really hope that you found this video interesting. Thank you so much for watching. There'll be another video along soon, but until then, take care, and I'll see you next time.